We're going to make it work no matter what. You guys are going to be the next Barack and Michelle. Hey, nobody needs that kind of pressure on their relationship. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Gym Mama podcast channel. I'm Isa2, and today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind Season 6, Episodes 10 and 11. So the episode kicks off with Jeremy meeting up with his mom, and he's telling her about what went down with Laura. But his version is definitely different than what he told Laura. So in his version with his mom, he's saying that he went out with the boys and Sarah Ann was there and they had a conversation that lasted until 5:30 in the morning, but nothing happened. He dropped her off and he went back home. And when he went back home, he slept on the couch. When Laura woke up, he immediately was forthcoming with her and told her everything that went down. Now, his mom is looking at him like, you lying. You my son, I know you, and I know you're lying. And that's exactly what he's doing. Because the way it went down with Laura is she had to pull this information out of him. She had to bamboozle him and let him know, you've been cornered. I know what you've been up to. The things that you're telling me are not true. So I don't want to hear about it. You're a liar. Here are the receipts. Let's go. So the two versions that he told his mom and Laura are completely different. And his mom definitely knew because she was looking at him like, damn, I really wish I wasn't your mama right now because you're lying. He was so confident in his lies too. Like, honestly, his mom was like, you are lucky it wasn't me because if it was, I would have been at the door waiting for you when you got back home. Because what the hell is wrong with you coming home at 6 o'clock in the morning as an engaged man, soon to be married? I really liked his mom because she clocked it right away and she knew that he was a bullshitter. In the next scene, we have my absolute favorite couple of the season. And I actually am scared saying that because I feel like every time I put some hope and faith into somebody, they end up disappointing us. But we have Amy and Johnny. And honestly, y'all, this scene reminds me of me and my husband. He is the put together and I am the one who is in charge of inventory. So whenever we buy any piece of furniture, I'm in charge of making sure we have enough screws that I count the screws and make sure we have everything that they say we're supposed to have. When it's time to hand him a wrench, I hand him a wrench. Hand him the drill, I hand him the drill. Like, that's his job. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. When Amy was like, I'm not made to do this type of work, I was like, yes, girl, me either. I do not know how to put things together at all. I'm directionally challenged, but overall, that couple is doing really well. There's not much going on with them, so we can go ahead and just move on to the next scene. Jimmy is introducing his parents to Chelsea, and this scene overall was fine. I didn't really think there was too much to say here, with the exception of Chelsea needs to stop trying to put on this front that they're this perfect couple. So there's a part in this interaction where Jimmy says like, oh, like we had a couple arguments, but nothing we couldn't work through. And Chelsea's like, no, babe, there's not really much that we argue about. It's kind of like just little tips, but girl, stop downplaying it. It's okay. Couples argue, couples have conflict, and they have to, figure out their conflict resolution styles. But I feel like whenever she gets in front of people, she tries to put on this act that everything is perfect, everything is great, like we're so happy. And then she gets behind closed doors, which we will talk about, and completely derails. Like, she goes off the rails when she gets alone with Jimmy. But in front of people, she likes to portray that everything is going well, they're happy, no problems, no conflict, no drama. And that's just not the case. So that was the only thing that I remarked about that particular interaction with Jimmy's parents. But overall, they seem like nice people. And so they kind of gave their blessing and said, this is who he chose. We are here to support our son and our brother. And I really like that. I like that the parents and the families so far this season have been so supportive. It makes a huge difference to have the support of your family behind you when you're planning on getting married. So I think that's one thing about this season, this cast. Their families have been so supportive overall, and I really enjoyed watching that because we don't need additional drama of family members hating each other like Nancy and her brother a couple seasons ago. Like, that is not it. Pause. So one thing I realize is when I'm recording these episodes, I am just like kind of reserved and like, let me just talk about this. I don't really bring out my personality. I love to laugh. I really do. So, okay, I'm going to hold myself accountable for the rest of this review. If there is something that I actually laughed at when I was watching it, I'm going to laugh when I talk about it because some of these couples are absolutely delirious. Like, they're literally living in Delulu land. And when I'm watching it, I'm just laughing. So I'm going to try to bring out that same personality when I'm recording and not be so intimidated by the camera because, guys, it's not easy to record these videos. Okay, let's move on before I go off on a tangent. In the next scene, we have AD and her mom meeting with Clay. And y'all, hey, I just have to say, AD's mom, either she knows Clay, because the way she, like when he walked in, she was just like, oh, like it almost was like, I know this person and I can't believe this is who my daughter's engaged to. Or, which I think is a more plausible thing that happened, is she saw him and was like, ooh, he is fine. And I think she had a little cougar moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think she had a little cougar moment, because that reaction was so weird to me. I was watching it and I was just like, ooh, I don't really like it, because then it turned into this snowball effect, y'all. I'm talking about, this scene was so long. I think I fast forwarded a little bit because I was so annoyed with the conversation they were having. Not because the things that they were saying were not true, but I think it was long-winded, it was drawn out. So let me explain myself. First of all, Clay, shut up. Clay talks a lot, y'all. And Clay, I'm trying to figure out, is Clay neurodivergent? Like, I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I'm truly trying to understand, because Clay is very unique to me. I don't know what it is about Clay. I cannot put my finger on it. When this man starts talking, alarms start going off. But at the same time, there's the empathetic side of me that's just like, I feel for him. It's really sad what he's battling with internally. Like, I think he is a good guy, but a good guy that hasn't been shown good examples or hasn't seeked out good examples. I don't want to put the blame on other people to show him good examples, because as a grown man, you also have some responsibility to seek out mentors, to seek out examples that reflect what you want to become. But overall, when he starts speaking, one, it's a lot of talking. Clay does not shut up, but also he's speaking from a place of vulnerability, and it's just really sad to, like, if that's truly what he's going through, I feel really sad for him, and I feel sad for AD, because the relationship is not going to work. If he has all these battles that he has to go through and he doesn't know how to reconcile his thoughts and his fears and his aspirations, the relationship is not going to work. So, okay, that's my side tangent on Clay. Coming back to the mama, I felt like she was giving good advice, okay? And it would have been nice if she said it one time and moved on. But I really felt like she kept harping on all these different things. She kept saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm just sitting there like, Lord, mama, okay, listen, I don't want to keep hearing the same thing. I found it to be really alarming that AD's mom was just pushing her to push through. She was just like, if we take the pizza and we add some chicken on top of it, and then we put some green peppers, but then we slice it, not traditional style, the square cuts, and then we put it on a plate, we give everybody 2 pieces, add a little bit of ranch, then we serve it. Nothing, like, honestly, y'all, it felt like she was doing mental gymnastics on how they can make this relationship work. Not at the root of what she was saying, because what she was saying was true. Like, relationships are hard work. They're not easy. Marriage takes sacrifice. Marriage takes commitment. All those things are very true. But the overall package of what she was saying just very much, for me, felt like, we're going to make it work no matter what. You guys are going to be the next Barack and Michelle. Hey. Nobody needs that kind of pressure on their relationship. I just feel like they're so busy trying to be this iconic couple, this amazing couple, this best couple of the year, that they're not really getting to the root of the problem. Like, AD, instead of saying, hey, Clay, no matter what happens, I will be there for you. I'm a ride or die. Let me take on the stress when you can't handle it, which is all the time, because Clay is always worried about being faithful. But instead of saying like, hey, let's go to therapy, let's go to couples therapy, let's get you individual therapy. Instead of saying those, she's just saying like, I'll be here and I'll be the strong one when you are the weak one. Like, that's unrealistic. And the fact that I have been ranting for as long as I have, and I have the episode playing on my computer just so I remember my notes and what I thought while I was watching it. And we're still on the segment of AD and her mom. Like, y'all, this was a long segment. This was a long segment of AD's mom just trying to basically convince AD, like, listen here, my daughter, okay, young lady, we are going to make this work no matter what. And I commend her for being the supportive cheerleader that she is with the relationship. But at the same time, I don't like when people just, by any means necessary, have to make things work. Okay, if AD and she did mention, I will give her credit for that. She did mention at some point, like, hey, if he's not willing to see you for who you are, he's not the man for you. But that was like 25 seconds, because she literally went back to saying, like, he's the one. I believe in him. Hello, Barack. Hello, Michelle. Let's join hands and take the oath. Yay. Next up, we have Amy and Johnny, my favorite couple. Literally, I love these two, and I hope they don't disappoint me. But we have Amy and Johnny meeting Amy's dad. Now, if you remember back in the pods, or maybe it was after the pods, but Amy was talking about, she needs her dad's blessing to move forward. And if she does not have that, she ain't going nowhere. And in the previews, they really made it seem like Amy's dad was going to be a problem, that he was really going to, stick it to Johnny and make him work for it. But honestly, this was a really wholesome interaction between the three of them. Amy's dad asked all the right questions. Johnny reassured her father in a way that any father would want to hear about their little girl. I think he felt safe leaving Amy with Johnny, and that's all you can really ask for. His speech about, as your parents, we're always going to be here for you. We're always going to support you. That was so beautiful. I thought that was such a touching moment. And again, we have nothing really crazy to say about this couple, because they're doing so well. So keep it up, because you are our hope for this season. Honestly, truly, you are our only hope for this season, at least for me. And then we get to the part of the episode that made me sit up. It made me sit up. It made me perk up, because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, we have Jimmy and Chelsea, and they're talking. And I'm going to pause this and just go back to the beginning of that conversation, because the beginning of the conversation was very, very normal. So the beginning of the conversation was them talking about how the interaction in the meeting with Jimmy's parents went really, really well. Now, I know that, when you're a self-saboteur, it's hard to not sabotage. I understand. But there are some conversations that there's just no room for the drama. There's just no room for the problems. Oh my God. So they're talking about that, and she goes, but I was so cranky with you this morning. And honestly, whenever Chelsea starts talking, I just really get scared. I get very, very scared. I don't know what she's going to say. The conversation is going to derail very, very quickly. So Jimmy has to strap up, get ready, and honestly get ready to defend himself, because she's about to go on some bullshit rant. And that's exactly what happened here. So Chelsea decides that, you went out last night and I did not go with you. So it was very embarrassing for people to text me like, why are you not out with him? And I just have to pause in this episode and say that is the demise of any healthy relationship. When you allow external factors to come into your relationship and determine how you feel and how you feel about your partner, that's the quickest way to go down the gutter. Like, Chelsea, if there's anything I can tell you, baby girl, it is to be so secure in yourself. And I know that takes work. It's easier said than done. But to be so secure in yourself, in your relationship, that nobody from the outside can come in and just quickly dismantle you like that. Because that relationship was gone, poof, just like that. With the accusation she was making, the questions she was asking, the doubt she was spewing, the relationship was done. I thought they were done. And honestly, I'm surprised Jimmy stuck around for it. But I'm going to get to that in a second. Chelsea literally starts going on a tirade of questions.
Who were you with last night? What time did you go out? What time did you get back in? Did you fart while you were out? Mackenzie told me this. You saw Jess. Did you sleep with your best friend? Actually, you told me not to say that on camera, but you told me you slept with your best friend, so I'm going to say it on camera. You told me that you were out with your frat brothers, but who do you text all night? Who do you text all day?
Like, honestly, her train of logic went from A to Z to G to H to all the different letters in the middle. There was no cohesion because she didn't really have an argument. And Jimmy was 100% right that she was fishing. She was fishing for problems. She was fishing for a fight. She was fishing for an argument. And that's exactly what she got. And honestly, I just have to say, like, it was so sad to watch. When I was watching the episode, I thought to myself, this bitch is crazy. And if I was Jimmy, I would pack my shit and get out right now. But when I thought about recording this episode and, when you see the thumbnail, it's going to be very focused on Chelsea because I think that there's a lot to work through here. Chelsea's insecurities are so deep rooted. She really needs to take a step back from dating in general. Like, forget marriage, okay? Take a step back from all of that and do some introspection. Do some therapy. because what she's doing is the classic case of self-sabotage, right? And alcohol does not help. Like, let's not even get into that. That's a whole different realm. But she gets into these modes of like questioning and then self-doubt, and then like other doubt. Like, she doubts the person she's with. So she has doubt all around her. She doesn't feel secure in the relationship. And, you know, it's easy for us to sit back and say it's because Jimmy doesn't love her. It's because Jimmy this and because Jimmy that. But let's be honest, guys. I think, in my opinion, Jimmy has not done anything wrong. He saw her in person. Jimmy has never been rude to her. Jimmy has never been mean to her. Okay, Jimmy saw her, and for whatever it was, aside from the statement that he made a little, and I'm not gonna lie, I would have slipped out and said something too, that she lied about how she looked. Okay, that's a fact. Because for people who like to say that she didn't say she looks like Megan Fox, if you don't think you look like Megan Fox, don't bring it up. Because the whole conversation stemmed from her saying, do people tell you look like anybody? Oh, people tell me I look like Megan Fox, but I don't think so. So you're saying other people think so. Just because you don't think so doesn't mean that you haven't planted that seed in Jimmy's head to think you, like, if other people think so, he might also think you look like Megan Fox. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say overall is that she literally self-sabotages like it's her day job. She self-sabotages for free. She does not believe that she can be in this relationship and be happy, because she's constantly thinking about the external factors that will ruin her relationship, and that's just going to set her up for failure. I don't even like Jimmy, but I was on his side because it's just so exhausting to try to explain yourself to somebody again and again and again. And I know a lot of people are going to say that he slept with his friend, therefore they can't be friends anymore or hang out as much as they did. But let's remember, when he introduced Chelsea to those two girls as his best friends, Chelsea said that she's best friends, or she's friends with an ex of hers as well. So she understands and she has no room to talk. Well, now she has all the room because she's saying all the things. I just don't think that, one, is healthy to be friends with exes like that. But I wouldn't even, in the scenario that Jimmy described, it seemed like it was like a one night stand, maybe a drunken night. And that's not to say that it's better than having an ex, but somebody that you slept with one time and realized it was never going to work out, versus somebody that you had a full-blown relationship and that's your ex and you're still friends with them. That, to me, the weighting is a little bit different in my opinion, but feel free to disagree. Chelsea gives me anxiety, y'all, because, okay, let me try to get back on track. What was I saying? Jimmy gets to the point where he's like, I'm unwilling to cut my friends off for you. Unwilling. And now this is something that I have to say. I'm married. I've been married for 3 years now. And I don't believe in like cutting off friendships that are perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, just because you're married. I think if you marry the right person, you wouldn't have to do that. You don't have to think about that. So when the stars align, some of these things are just not problems. It's when the stars are misaligned that you have all these problems. And that's what we have here. So with Chelsea and Jimmy, in my opinion, if Jimmy off camera had a candid conversation with Chelsea about the fact that he slept with one of his friends and that it was a one night stand, it didn't mean anything, and that's just what it was, and then he proceeds to introduce said friends, right, or said friend to Chelsea, at which Chelsea was like very happy and they had a great interaction. Like, I didn't see any red flags during that meeting. I think most of us probably figured out that Jimmy probably slept with one of these girls. And it was the one who was like, oh, he likes to cry during sex. It's like, how you know that? But overall, I think like Jimmy has been upfront. Whether it's good or bad, he's been upfront about what the situation was. So Chelsea, like I mentioned in the very beginning, she likes to put on this facade that everything is good. They have great communication skills. Everything is going well. But in reality, she has all these different feelings inside that she doesn't know how to say. She doesn't know how to put out. And it really causes her to have to backtrack and then have a private disagreement, a private argument with Jimmy about things that in public she said were perfectly fine. Okay, and that is exhausting. That is tiring, and I really, really resonated with Jimmy. I understood Jimmy. I really, really understood Jimmy when he was just like, I'm unwilling to let go of my friends, and I don't want to be in this relationship with you anymore, because how much affirmation, how much validation do you need from me? And I noticed too, after they made up, so they did end up making up, but after they made up, Jimmy was like firing off the I love yous. And I could not blame him, because to be with somebody like Chelsea, you have to say I love you constantly, every 2 seconds, for them to believe that you truly do love them. It is exhausting. Oh my God. I really, really felt for Jimmy in this conversation. Like the conversation with AD, her mom, and Clay was long-winded. It went on for way longer than I would have liked it to. And I ended up getting so frustrated to the point where I was starting to fast forward by 10 seconds just to see, like, is she still talking about this? Are they still going at it? It got really, really annoying, long-winded, like I mentioned. They need help, and they need not to get married. I better not see them say yes at the altar. If they get married, they're going to be divorced pretty soon. Anyways, by the time this video comes out, they'll probably already be divorced. But like, they don't need to be married. Chelsea has her work to do. Jimmy has his own work to do as well. He's not displaying as much as Chelsea from an emotional standpoint, but he does have some work to do, because if you felt like you walked away leaving a lot on the table with Jessica, that's not a healthy way to live your life either. This experiment is so up on so many levels. It's so messed up. So that's what we're dealing with, and I guess we'll have to deal with the cards that we were dealt. But either way, that's the argument with Jimmy and Chelsea, and it completely drained my spirit. I think this is where I started playing the episodes on 1.5, because I was done. I was exhausted. I was exalted by the end of this conversation. In the next scene, we have Clay and AD, and Clay is yet again telling AD that he thinks he's going to cheat on her. So nothing really to say there, except that AD is saying that she is going to wear her Batman cape, and she is going to cape for Clay until the end of time. Okay, moving on. In the next scene, we have Jimmy and Chelsea has woken up from her drunken shenanigans, okay? She went home, passed out, woke up, came back over to the apartment, and asked Jimmy, what's up? And Jimmy's like, what's up? And Chelsea is, this argument, as if Chelsea hasn't already annoyed the hell out of me, okay? I could give her grace for the first argument, a lot of grace actually, because, it's not easy. I understand. This argument, she pissed me off. This argument, she literally pissed me the off, because Chelsea, how is it that you're telling him you're angry at him? Because at the end of it all, she's like, don't be dressing so cute when I'm angry at you, and you look so good. He's mad at you. I'm mad at you. We're mad at you. How is it that Chelsea, in her mind, this is equal fault? She's like, you pissed me off, I pissed you off, we fought, we argued, how do we move forward from this? And how do you never leave me again when we argue? She doesn't understand accountability from the standpoint of, he went to a birthday party for a couple of hours. How is it that that is too much for you? You classify that as partying. You think that's unacceptable, and you don't want to be with a person like that. The next morning, you wake up, you're sober, you come home, and instead of apologizing for overreacting, instead of apologizing for interpreting things and listening to external people like Mackenzie tell you that Jess is there even though she wasn't, as far as we know, because you can't ever be too sure with these people. But instead of apologizing for basically causing a fight for no reason, you decide to say, just never leave me when we argue. I need you to know you never leave me. Let me tell you something. Never, ever, ever, and I know I'm making an oxymoron right now. This is kind of contradictory what I'm about to say. Never, ever, ever, ever go for things like never, always in a relationship. There's no one size fits all solution, okay? Every situation requires deep investigation. It requires deep thought. It requires deep contemplation. So you can decide what the best next course of action is for you and the relationship. So this always and never, don't do it. Like, for her to be like, you have to promise you'll never leave me. If you act crazy again, I'm gonna leave you. If you act crazy again, I'm gonna leave you. So I hate things like that. Like, I'll never do this. I'll always do that. No, you won't. You're human. You're human, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It's okay. So this conversation was a little bit more draining, as if I have anything left to drain anyways. But she's over here saying, we argued. It was so bad. Please never leave me again. And I honestly commend Jimmy for his patience when it comes to dealing with Chelsea, because he could have easily packed his shit up and left and never come back. But he went for a walk. He thought about it. He realized, like, if this is somebody that I really love, it's worth fighting for. And that is a tangent that I'm going to go on for approximately 30 seconds. Does Jimmy really love Chelsea? I found myself asking myself that question. did I find myself asking myself? I did. I found myself asking myself that question last night when I was watching the episodes, because I was just like, if I didn't love somebody and they were giving me this easy of an out, like you're a psycho bitch and I can just quickly use that as an excuse to leave, I would use that. But Jimmy's sticking around, y'all. Jimmy is sticking around, and for whatever it's worth, he is staying committed to the relationship. Whether he likes her or not, whether he finds her attractive or not, whether he finds her like looking like Megan Fox or not, like it doesn't matter what you say. Jimmy at this point, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, he gets at least a 7 from me, because he's staying committed. He's doing the work that it takes. He's being transparent. He's being honest, and he's putting the thought into how do we make this work as a couple even when we have problems. And that's really all you can ask for from a person. So I think Jimmy, honestly, you're good in my book right now. So there's actually a little bit of irony going on here on my side today, because I had upper body day at the gym the other day after I haven't worked out in a long time, and my arms hurt so bad. Like I literally can't extend my arms beyond here. Like it hurts. So I feel a little bit like Chelsea with her T-Rex run. All right, that was messed up. I should not have said that. I'm sorry. But that is kind of how I feel. So anyways, the next scene that we have, well, the next couple of scenes that I'm going to just lump in together into one big rant is the party. All the cast members meet up and the drama is being stirred, or supposedly being stirred, by production, because it really wasn't as explosive for TV as I would have liked, but I do think that everybody handled it pretty well. So let's get into it. So the first notable thing that we have is Jimmy and Jessica meeting up, and there was no EpiPen in sight because Jimmy did not need one, although he did choke a little bit because he thinks she's beautiful. I don't think she looks that anything special. I don't think she's ugly. I don't think it's Jessica, okay? I think she looks perfectly fine, but no EpiPen needed, you know? But I do think that there is chemistry between them, and I can't tell if it's lust or they truly want to like be together. I don't think they truly want to be together. I think Jessica is a bit spiteful in the sense that she just wants to cause a little drama, you know, give Chelsea a run for her money, make Jimmy sweat a little bit, and then skedaddle out of here. I don't think that she really wants to be with Jimmy. But Jimmy, on the other hand, he may not need an EpiPen, but he definitely needed like an oxygen mask just to, you know, replenish. Jimmy probably needed a little bit of assistance because he had a really hard time talking with Jessica. Now, this is where I know that Jimmy is an amateur, because Jessica is playing it really coy. She's like, I was really having a hard time when you left me. And, you know, I hope you guys are happy. I want you guys to be happy. But like, you were my number one. And yeah. And Jimmy needs to understand this bitch is lying. She don't want you. She just wants to beat out the other girl. So honestly, Chelsea and what's this bitch's name? Chelsea and Jessica are on the same wavelength, really, of just being catty and trying to beat out the other girl. Jimmy is the idiot that's stuck in the middle and he doesn't really know what to do. He thinks Jessica's so hot. And I lost it when he said that, you know, he thinks she's the smartest person in the world. Stop. I'm insulted. I am insulted. Everybody else is insulted. Let's just stop right there. I'm not saying Jessica's not smart, but she's not the smartest person that you ever met. I can guarantee you that right now. Okay, I don't even need to know who else you've met to know that she's not the smartest person you ever met. Anyways, this conversation was kind of lackluster in my opinion. They do have some chemistry. I can't tell again if it's lust or they just want to, I don't know. Overall, it was fine. No boundaries to me were crossed. It's unreasonable for these couples to connect the way that they do and then see each other and for there not to be any chemistry. That's just my opinion. And I think if you sign up for the show, you need to be ready for that. I don't think it needs to be Kwame and Chelsea level. Was her name Chelsea too? I think so. But I don't think it needs to be that level of like flirting and disrespect. But I think if you see somebody that you connected with in the pods and you were in a love triangle and you love that person the same way you love the other person, which I don't think you can love two people at the same time, but that's beyond the point. If you love two people, you end up picking one. If you see the other person, you're going to have like a moment of like, what if, right? I think people should give you like a good 5 to 10 minutes to get it out your system, say what you need to say, and then move on. I don't think you need to be disrespectful like previous seasons where people were clearly flirting and clearly entertaining the idea of like I could have been with you. I can still be with you if you give me a little. Okay. I don't think it needs to be that, but I think people have to be realistic that, and I hate to say that because it makes me sound like Sarah Ann, which I hate. But people have to be realistic that you made a connection with this person. I've only known you for a month, so it's not like I have that much of a I'm sorry. Is that bad to say? That is bad to say. I cannot say that. Can I? What am I talking about? I'm talking about Jesse. There's nobody named Jesse on the show. I'm talking about Jimmy and Jessica. I just put their two names together. But their conversation was a bit lackluster. Whatever, moving on from that. Nothing really to see there. Jessica is kind of a bitch because she knows that she has a pull on Jimmy, and Jimmy's sitting there like, I'm terrified of you. Stand up, man. Stand up. Okay, you do have a crazy little fiance at home, but figure it out with her before you do anything, because if you step out on her, if you cheat on her, it's going to further her insecurity, that she's going to have this idea that she's not worthy of love, or that she always, meets the bad boys, and you just don't want to do that. So Jimmy, be responsible. Understand that you signed up for the show. You picked your person, okay? So do your due diligence with that person, whether it's going all the way through if you love her to the altar, or letting her know that, hey, it's not going to work and I have to take a step back. Anyways, that brings us to the end of episode 10. I remember saying in the beginning that it was uneventful, but it seems to have been eventful based on my recount of things. But that's what I had to say about episode 10. I'm going to do another review on episode 11. There is tea around Trevor, around Sarah Ann, around Jeremy. But honestly, y'all are frauds. And in the words of Laura, y'all don't deserve any attention. So, as I said in previous videos, there are other channels that have, covered the tea. Feel free to check those channels out. I personally can't get into it. It's just too much. I'm just going to review the episode and go on about my life, okay? Because these people are actually frauds. They're frauds. But yes, I think that is all I had to say about this episode. I will see you in my next review. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching up until this point. If you are still here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to make sure you push this video out to others. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next one. I have one thing to say about Sarah Ann. Wait, is she in this episode, or is she? No, she's in the next one. I'm going to talk about her in the next one. Get to the next one. Next one. Okay, make sure you watch the next video when I upload it. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so when I upload that one, you'll hear all the shit I have to say about Sarah Ann.